What's going on, Glory Gang? Thanks again for dealing with these kinks that we are working out, but I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be working out these kinks through December. January, we're on and popping. We gonna make sure that in January, first week of January, those first lives, we not dealing with any of these little things that we trying to work out. It's our fourth live. Glory Gang, what's up? I'm so excited to be here. I didn't even expect. I'm gonna stop saying that I didn't expect to do a live because it's kind of looking like lives are gonna happen on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but we're still figuring out that cadence. We're figuring it out. So as we figure that out, I don't know. It might be Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Y'all said y'all don't like 9 a.m., so we might switch that to 11:30 a.m. And Wednesdays, whenever it happens, it happens. Just show up for the lives when we here. Make sure when y'all get in here, you guys are commenting, you guys are in the chat, talking back and forth with me. And also make sure you guys like the live. When y'all like the live, it really, really helps me to be able to continue to do these lives and allocate my time towards doing these lives. Those likes really help the algorithm and just let the algorithm know that this is something you guys are into. But look, the reason we're here today is for two things. The first reason I wanted to even pop in today and talk to y'all is because of these heists. These heists are getting really crazy. And I want to contextualize the reason why we're talking about the art world. First of all, I just think that it's incredibly important that we talk about things that are happening in real time. And I also found myself focusing so much on the growth of artists, the growth of collectors. Of course, I'm still heavily focused on that. But what I realize is if we pay attention together what's happening in the art world in real time, whether that's on the big stage or the local stage, whatever we talk about here, those things, we can implement what we learn from those things to our own practices, whether that's for me, whether that's for you guys as artists or you guys as collectors. So it's important for us to like really keep an eye on what's going on in the art world. And it's exciting. It's really fun. And y'all don't have to wait an entire week after something happens or 2 or 3 weeks for me to come in and really break down what's going on. We can do it in real time. So yesterday, I seen a crazy heist go on in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and I was like, we got to talk about that because what's going on with all these heists? I mean, first they were at the Louvre, and these folks are going into these museums and just taking things. So I think it's important for us to talk about, like, we've definitely talked about in America how these museums have been tightening up, but are they tightening up in the right places around the world? If someone could just walk into a museum and grab something off the wall or grab something from the archives and just walk out on the street, that's insane to me. So I want to talk about that. But I also really want to talk about this hippopotamus that sold for $31 million. And I think it's beautiful that someone has that amount of money to spend. Now, I just also want to preface this is a designer. I'm not close to design. I think I told y'all a few weeks ago or last week that I have been getting more and more into design. So if I pronounce words wrong or whatever, design is a new world for me. But it's also, I believe, important for us to know that these worlds intertwine. And if we want to grow in understanding this entire world and this entire market, we have to dibble and dabble in design and furniture and jewelry and things like that. So, but this hippopotamus, let's take a look at it. This hippopotamus sold for $31.4 million. And it is designed by Lalanne, the Lalanne family, which is a wife and a husband. I think I'm saying it right. Y'all can correct me in the chat if I'm saying their names wrong, but it sold for $31.4 million. And when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, it's a bar. And I had to take myself back. I had to say, Mariah, take a step back, because when an artwork sells for that much, you're not asking you're asking questions, but you're not questioning it to the point of where I'm questioning this copper beautifully designed hippopotamus bar sold for $31 million. Instead of me judging it, I think that it was important that we take a step back and we really understand why this happened, right? So I want to take a look at this bar that sold for $31.4 million dollars. And I'm going to keep saying $31.4 million dollars because these are insane numbers. But I want to slow down. Let's actually talk about this because this is one of those moments where the art world is kind of just telling on itself. And it's telling on itself really, really loudly. So today we're going to think through it together and we're going to make it, we're going to try our best to make it make sense. So I want to begin here. First of all, y'all tell me where y'all watching from. Let me know in the chat where y'all watching from. I'm in Houston right now. Where y'all at? LA, New York, Chicago, another country. Let me know where you guys are watching from. And while y'all are telling me that, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this video so we could take a real good look at this bar. Talk to me in the chats, guys. Talk to me in the chat. Where y'all from? Where y'all at? Talk to me in the chat. So if y'all just coming in, look, this bar sold for $31.4 million. It's a hippopotamus bar. Okay, y'all see that bar? That bar was estimated somewhere between $7 to $10 million. This, what y'all seeing on screen, this was made 4 years ago. So if I'm not mistaken, this is coming to auction again within those 4 years. But it was estimated for between $7 to $10 million, and it sold for $31.4 million, which is more than 3 times the estimate, right? 26-minute battle. There was a 26-minute battle, and I'm curious to whether Sotheby's is going to put that on YouTube because it was such a monumental sale. And what I've come to understand is this is breaking barriers in the design world. And also, have y'all been seeing those like sheep like furniture throughout the year? Like I said, I'm just now starting to pay attention to design, but that is this brand, or that is this couple, the Lalannes. And apparently people are really, really losing it over this bar and over those sheep. And so they went to a bid. It was 7 people in the bidding battle, and they bid for 26 minutes until somebody said, okay, yeah, I'm willing to spend the $31.4 million. Let me know, what do y'all think about, first of all, what do y'all think about this design? Also, are y'all into design? Is design something that you guys want to hear about? Is design something you guys want to talk about? Because design is a part of the art world. You know, Sotheby's is made up of many different sectors, and Sotheby's is 100% focused on fine art, but they're also focused on jewelry, and they're also focused on design. So a sale like this coming through, yeah, I think it's crazy. But what is your gut telling you? Like, how are you reacting to something like this actually selling for $31 million? Are you shocked about it? Or have you just been watching the art world long enough to know, yeah, this is going to happen. We're going to see this happen every now and then. Are you confused about it? Do you feel like, I feel a lot of people always kind of come through and think that things like this is money laundering? Like, how do you guys, what y'all think? What y'all think about it? I mean, when I seen it, I didn't really blink an eye. I'm not, maybe if I were into the designer, and maybe if I were into other things that they have both designed, then maybe it would do something significant for me. But it's my first time hearing about this designer. I've heard about them a few times over this year. So it doesn't really do anything for me other than the fact of the shock value that this hippopotamus bar sold for $31 million. Definitely money laundering. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know. Do y'all really know how money laundering works? Can we talk about money laundering can we do that? Can we talk about money laundering live? Can we talk about that? I don't know. But let me know. Do y'all even know how money laundering even works for us to just like assume that is money laundering? Are they really cleaning their money? Or I think this is what it is, and this is what I've learned. They're moving their money. I think more than anything, they are storing their money in objects and they're moving their money and they're diversifying how their money sits instead of sitting in certain. We would have to bring someone else into this conversation. I know a few people that might be willing to come and have that conversation with us live, but I believe more than anything that they're storing their money, they're moving their money. And when I say moving, I don't mean like just moving it across borders, but also moving it across generations. I believe that's kind of what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah, not really. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us don't really understand money laundering. And I guess if maybe we shouldn't understand money laundering. How would we understand money laundering unless we are doing it? Yeah, so I want to add this. Sotheby's really primed this last night. So I read an article a little bit earlier today that talked about how Sotheby's invited all of these folks to the new sector of Sotheby's just opened in New York, if I'm not mistaken. They opened a new headquarters and they a creators and collectors headquarters, and they invited some of your top people in the art world to come and just look at all these Lalans. And I hope I'm not saying this wrong because I could be so ignorant saying this wrong, y'all. When I'm filming a video, sometimes I'm like, did I say, the names get very, um, sometimes they're not American names. And I'm American and I'm from Texas. And I'm just not afraid to say that sometimes, like, all of the information I might know, sometimes I just can't pronounce the names, and it takes practice for me to really get these names right. And this happened today. And I'm just now getting to know who these designers are. And I am just as wild about it as you guys are. So I didn't get to practice their name. And maybe I'll get it over time. Maybe we'll, we'll revisit. But I was reading the art news today, and it talked about how they invited all of these people. And I'm talking about Antoine Sargent. Y'all know who Antoine Sargent is? Let me know. Do y'all even know who Antoine Sargent is? Because he's really, really important figure in the arts. If I'm not mistaken, director of Gagosian. He is the person who not founded, but brought Rick Lowe into Gagosian. Just phenomenal, phenomenal guy. Thelma Golden was there. I believe I read Tory Burch was there. John Baptiste. Yeah, John Baptiste. John Baptiste. So even just Julian Schnabel, who I'm sure you guys know who Julian Schnabel, all of these people were in the same room, and they placed all these Lalans around the room to kind of set the tone and get people in the mood for the sale that was going to happen today. That's something I wish I would have been able to be there for. You had Jeffrey Deitch who was in the room. So yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting that they're starting to talk about, especially in these articles, like who's placed in the room and who is creating this very quiet hype for this $30 million sale. So who has the power within this quiet room, right, to create this very quiet hype for this $30 million sale? Something that we knew was coming. If you pay attention to Sotheby's, you definitely know what sales are coming up. So I definitely knew this design sale was coming up just because I'm on their emailing list. Like, I go to Sotheby's and I see what auctions are coming up. But what you can't know from my position, because I'm no Antoine Sargent, I know a lot of people, but I don't know him. I would love to know him. If you're ever watching this, Antoine, I would love to meet you and know you. But you have folks like that, and I'm sure so many other just significant people who've accomplished so many amazing things in that room, creating this inside hype and creating these and continuing the conversations of what happened today. And so that's how the art world builds that quiet energy. And I say all of these things, y'all. I say these things because we have to extract from that, right? Like extract from that type of strategy. You as an artist, you could do that on a small scale. You could create that same type of quiet hype. Trust me, I have done it time and time again with artists. Created this very quiet, private hype to amp up. And it's matter of fact, I'm not the only one. Everyone does it to amp up what's gonna happen the next day. And it's a strategy that's used across the board. This, we're just talking about it at a high level. And also they wrote about it. And so we're able to talk about it publicly, and we're able to kind of just see like who was actually in a room. Let me see. Let me take a look at the comments. No hippo is worth that much, but it's a hippo bar. It's not just it's functional. Even if what about the functionality? Does the functionality make it worth that much? I mean, I'm pretty sure when they were creating this and, you know, they started designing these whimsical animals. If you look into the collection and the things that they've designed before, you'll find different whimsical animals there. In a way, they've created this beautiful world of objects, and people love them. They really enjoy them. And it's a bit of escapism to have a bar that is a hippopotamus. It's a conversational piece. And though we may say no hippo is worth that much, well, everything is spectacle to an extent, right? Everything is guided by what the consumer, what the collector says the value is at. And we, as a collective of humans that are into and collect and hype up these things, we drive that. And I think it's important for us to know that we are in power as people, especially in these type of worlds, the world of art, to drive up. You have to be careful about it, and I want to be careful about my words, but we are responsible for how much things cost. Even when you think about just stock, even when you think about anything, we're almost responsible for the maintenance of how much things cost, because we continue to buy it. And a group of people have continued and said, hey, this is worth it. We're going to collect it, and we think it's worth this, and we're going to pride ourselves in collecting this. And we enjoy this whimsical world that this couple, that they have created, and we like it. And then when they passed, I'm sure the couple, I believe one of them passed I believe the husband passed in 2008 and the wife passed in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And that, of course, that is another sense of driving up the price and the energy of this entire collection. Because like we said yesterday, when demand gets high and supply gets low. And also, I want to note that this is the only one made like this. There are no others. This is one of one, and it's copper. And it's not made again. And I'm not trying to justify the $31 million. That's not what I'm trying to do. I don't want to justify. I don't have $31 million. I don't have that to spend. So I don't want to justify $31 million. But hey, it's happening. It's happening. So anyway, yeah, that's how the art world is building energy. And I want you guys to just take that and extract that. And you could do that in your own, if you're having an exhibition or whatever. Now I want to talk about this other wild thing that's happening right now, because 13 different artworks were stolen from a library in Brazil. It was 8 Matisses and 5, I forget the other artists. But look, the 8 Matisses is enough. How do you walk into a library? Let me see what time it is. I got to stay on time. How do you walk into a library in the middle of the day? Let's look at this. Let's take a look at this.
Two armed thieves casually walking away. Viral surveillance footage from downtown Sao Paulo shows two armed thieves casually walking away with stolen artwork after breaking into the Mario de Andretti library. Their haul included at least 8 prints by French artist Henri Matisse and 5 by Brazilian painter Candido Portinari. Police say the pair subdued a security guard and an elderly couple who were visiting the library, then removed.
First of all, please tell me how. How? Look at this. Look at them walking on the street.
Viral surveillance footage from downtown Sao Paulo shows two armed thieves casually walking away with stolen artwork after breaking into the Mario de Andretti library. Their haul included at least 8 prints by French artist Henri Matisse.
Where were these works? Were they behind glass? Were they under glass? Were they stored? I need more information, because are these museums and these libraries that are storing these very, very expensive works, what is the security like? From my understanding, security was around.
And 5 by Brazilian painter Candido Portinari. Police say the pair subdued a security guard and an elderly couple who were visiting the library, then removed the artwork from a glass dome to a canvas bag and walked out through the main entrance. The Sao Paulo government announced that the first.
How do you walk out of the main entrance? How do you, you guys, have y'all ever seen movies about heists, TV shows about heists? Every time I've watched a TV show, a television show, or a movie about a heist, it was a full-on plan. It was millions of dollars put into this plan. And just the same at the Louvre, and here they're walking in and walking out. And my husband we were going back and forth about when they did this at the Louvre. He's like, this was $1 million plan. It wasn't $1 million plan. They got on one of those construction things and did the thing. It was a thought out plan, but this one in particular, they're walking in and walking out. And for me, it just raises the question of, what is security? What does security look like? Even in American museums, what does security look like? Because every time I go to the museum, if I get too close to the painting, it's hey, 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 hey. So I don't, I can't even look closely at the painting without someone telling me something. So, and I know I have manners at museums. So I know not to get so incredibly close to something, and they're still hey, hey, hey in me. So what I'm confused at is, how does someone go into a museum and steal this? And also, something that is worth so much money, why is there not more security on this? And then it also kind of raises this question to me of what like the black market looks like, which I'm sure we all understand and know that there is a black market, but what does the black market actually look like for these paintings? Because it's not like they can sell them publicly. They can't sell them publicly. They can hold them as leverage. I don't know what they're doing with them, but between these two stories, between the Hippo selling for $31 million and these Henri Matisses being stolen, I'm not sure. I know that they are prints, so I'm not really sure actually like what the value, and these news stations didn't tell us what the value of these were. Let's listen and see if they tell us.
Alleged thief was arrested following an analysis of security cameras that recorded the criminal act. The remaining thief is still at large.
Yeah, look, I don't know, but something else I wanted to talk about, because right before I hopped on this live, I got an email from Untitled, and they are highlighting, they're now highlighting what sold. I know we're talking about Art Basel again. Here we go. Art Basel is still making its waves and still, doing the thing, but they sent an email with the report from their sales. I don't think you guys can see it. No, you can't see it. Let's see. I can't pull it up. I'm not signed into my email here. Let's see if they're giving us any good information. I don't see any numbers in this. The agency Art House for daily art advisors led tours with only $500,000 in sales. I don't know. They're not telling us about any like actual numbers. Why are they not telling us numbers? Let's see if we can get some numbers out of them. They're not really telling us numbers. I thought that they were going to be telling us numbers in this email, but they're not. I see something about something that sold for the mid market 20,000 to 80,000 was very charged. Yeah, they're not really giving us numbers. It kind of raises my question of like what actually sold. I know that Untitled did really well. They did pretty well here as well. So I know that they did well. And also Untitled and Nada was really mentioned a lot. So I'm pretty sure they did well. Other than that, y'all, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about this hippo because, child, you know, this is not impossible, is I think one of the things that we can take from this, that it's not impossible to do a heist, and it's also not impossible to create something that becomes this valuable. The heist tells us something about institutions being fragile, I believe, that budgets are probably thin, security is definitely inconsistent, and also cultural memory and cultural artifacts are not being protected the way that we assume. We would assume that these cultural artifacts are being protected, but they're not being protected in the way that we assume. Now with all of these heists, and you would also think that with these heists happening over and over and over again, that somebody would tighten up the security. Somebody would, like when what I thought about immediately, I don't know if y'all follow pop culture at all, but when Cardi B said she's security, she looks like security. They need to figure out what the security needs to be in these places, because it's not seeming like it's strong at all. Does this scare y'all a little? Y'all, I know this guy a few years ago in Houston. This guy, what is his name? I can't think of his name. Anyway, he walked into the Manil, which is a museum here, and he destroyed a Picasso. He destroyed a Picasso in the middle of the day. Now, I ended up meeting him. I didn't know who I was talking to. I mean, I was working with an artist, and the artist he's a photographer, and he was doing a photo shoot at a bed and breakfast, and I went to the shoot and ended up talking to the photographer, just being on set, like doing my job. And there was another artist there. What is his name? Can't think of his name. There was another artist there, and we get to talking, and then he goes and tells me this story about how when he was in college, which he went to the University of Houston, so did I. Graduated from the University of Houston. And when he was in college, he was just so upset at the value of these works and the thought that these works could be valued so much. Mind you, this is public. If I knew his name, I could tell y'all his name, and I could see his face, but I can't remember his name. But you could literally Google this, that he walked into the Manil because he was so upset at artwork being valued at such a high price, and he destroyed the Picasso. He destroyed it. He ended up going to jail for it a few years later and the reason why he didn't go to jail for it immediately is because he went on the run, and he kind of hid out in Mexico for a little bit, but he ended up having to come back, but he's doing really well now. I'm happy to let y'all know he's doing well. He's no longer destroying Picassos, but if someone I know, someone that I could be in contact with, could just walk into even the Manil, which is one of the most respected museums in America, definitely one of the most respected museums in Houston. If someone can just walk in there and destroy an artwork, what type of security is there? I don't know. These things that they're way too valuable in price for them not to have tighter security. But when you put these two stories next to each other, you see a split. You see people spending millions on fantasy while institutions can't even pay for good security. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. How is this much money being spent on one side of the market, and on the other side, folks can't even afford good security? Someone said that he should have said it was a performance piece. You know what? He's a comical guy, so I wonder if he thought about it in that way. I wonder if he thought about it in that way. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think that we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out why these museums aren't able to afford good security. Anyway, I wanted to dig a little bit more into these designers and see if we could find out more about what they've designed. Let's look. Let's take a look. Maybe this screen is better. Yeah, see, when I see you go to Google, I don't know if you can see my screen, but you go to Google and the sheep come up. Have y'all seen these? Have y'all seen these? It's a stool. It's given a stool. These in itself, I'm not sure how much they closed for because I'm not signed into Sotheby's, right? Or I'm not signed into Christie's, but they were estimated between $500,000 and $800,000. Have y'all seen these before? I've seen these a few times this year. Yeah, you think so? You've seen it before? Too much security can alter the experience and the emotion. I mean, I feel that. I get that, but they're already altering it. Have you not gone to a museum and they're not telling you to back up? And it does alter it alters it for me when they do that because I'm really just trying to get a really solid look at what I'm actually looking at. But maybe it's not more security, maybe it's better trained security because they're walking into these museums and just taking things in the middle of the day. How are they maybe it is their protocol, maybe they can't necessarily stop them, maybe it's considered dangerous. I know in retail, they can't necessarily stop you from, they're not supposed to chase you or stop you from walking out because that's considered to be dangerous. So maybe it's in their protocol not to do anything and for them to allow their camera systems to get you. Maybe that's the case. I could see that being the case. What do y'all think? Because I could agree with you. Too much security can alter the experience and the emotion. Yeah. If a work of art is too secure, you can't really enjoy it. And then I know it's a museum, so you want it to be accessible. So yeah, but we got to train the security more. We got to come up with different protocols. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just totally and completely wrong. And the protocol is let them walk out. Yeah, these things have been coming to market for a bit. The largest sculpture of the set, the Ram, nicknamed Daddy, and these things have some really crazy names because the hippopotamus, they named the hippopotamus Daisy, so they also come with names. But the largest sculpture of this set here of these rams was nicknamed Daddy, and it sold for $293,000 with fees against a $200,000 estimate. And this was in 2023. I think this article was written in 2023. So we're behind. I'm behind on this. This isn't something that I've just been privy on. And yeah, but we're catching up. So y'all let me know. Are we interested in design? Do we talk more about design here? Design, in my opinion, is a great correlation to art. But do y'all want to know more about the design world? Let me know in the chat. Let me know if I need to just move on from doing design. This was just a very big headline that happened today, and I thought it would be really interesting to talk about it. Retail does not allow employees to stop a theft. Yeah, exactly, because retail will get the value back in insurance. Exactly. So that's why they don't want anything to happen to the employees for sure. I wonder if it's the same. I don't know. I don't know much about security in museums. But maybe that's a conversation I can have with someone. Maybe I could bring in or go have a conversation with a museum lead, a museum director, and get some better clarity. Because even when I go to contemporary museums, even though that work isn't valued as much. I spend a lot of time with contemporary art, but of course, uh, we go to all types of museums. But when I go to contemporary art museums, maybe because the artwork isn't valued as much, the security is a little bit looser. I've even gone to contemporary arts museums where I don't remember seeing any security, maybe one security guard. So I don't know. You love to learn about interior design world and relationship to art. Yeah, I think there's definitely there is unquestionably a relationship there. Um, I don't know. I think it takes the right interior designer. Man, now that I'm really digging into this, so this is some of their work. This has been heavily written about for years. I'm just late. Wait, you paid how much for those sheep sculptures? Yeah, okay. So these sold for 2.4 million. 2.2 and 2.4 million. Wow. Wow. Are y'all late to the game too? Is it just me? Have y'all heard about this? I feel very out of touch. I'm so embarrassed that I don't know anything about this. Anyway, y'all, I don't have anything much else. I just wanted to come in really quickly and talk about this with you guys because it's just really interesting that they really cracked the code and sold for 34 million dollars. That's cracking the code. Here's something in the chat. If someone is in the act of stealing, okay, we're still talking about the museums. Just think about the scene, someone running with art, security chasing them, loud and chaotic, police. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's not what they want. All right, y'all. Well, that's all I have for today. Unless y'all have any questions, I'll give a few seconds. If y'all want to add anything, ask anything. Is there anything going on that y'all seen in the headlines that y'all want to talk a little bit more about? Y'all have no idea. I mean, I have like this coat on because it's cold outside and I just came back in, but these lights are so hot. It's just hot. Anything else y'all seen in the headlines today that caught y'all's attention? Let's see what's going on. Let's look and see a little bit more of what's going on in the art world. Oh, this has been a thing. People have been really, really mad about the fact that this is the color of the year, basically white. I like white. I wouldn't make it my primary color in my life, but people have been upset about white being the primary color or the color of the year for 2026. It's nothing really going on. I think that sale, this $31 million sale, I think that's going to be the last crazy headline we see this year. I would be really surprised. Oh, the Turner Prize. Yeah. Ibram. Oh, here it is. No. The Turner Prize. Who won the Turner Prize? Remind me who won the Turner Prize. I'm thinking about Ibram Muhammad because he's the first African to top the Art Review's Power 100 list, and that is right here. But who won the Turner Prize? I was just looking at that. I was just looking at who won the Turner Prize. Let's go see. So much news. Oh, yeah, Nana Kalu. Yeah, this is huge. So much news, y'all. It's so much news. I mean, we could spend time talking about everything. Frank Morrison's son debut at Scope. Yeah, Tyreek Morrison. Yeah, I talk to him sometimes. We've definitely talked a few times on Instagram. We've given each other our props. Yeah, Frank, that is really cool, right? That Frank Morrison's son, he's doing his thing too. And you know what's really cool about him? First of all, he's just a cool dude. He just gives, he really honors his dad. He gives gratitude, but he also honors himself and his own practice. and he's doing it the way that he wants to do it, and he's going let's, if y'all don't know who he is, let me, skateboarder guy. Let me see if I can actually be in here. So artists that I represent. So Lamont French is an artist that I work with. He's doing really well. So he had a really big family year this year, and he's taken this year to really hone in. But he did have an exhibition actually at the beginning of the year that did really, really well with his gallery here in Houston, Texas. And right now we're working on getting him outside of Houston and getting him some representation outside of Houston. And we're being very, very, I would say, careful about how we actually are handling his career and making sure that he is partnered with people that he believes in, that believe in him totally and completely. So Lamont French, you guys keep on a lookout from Lamont French, because he has some really amazing things coming next year that I can't talk about right now. But Lamont, man, in Houston, Texas, he's done really, really well. And he has, I would say, we've done 4 sold out shows, underground shows together. And especially during the time that we did that, starting in 2021, that was just, that's, first of all, guys, that's so hard to do. It's almost unheard of to do something like that. And after that, he went and got his gallery representation with LEO, which is a gallery here in Houston, Texas, which they're about to start going on the fair market. So some really amazing things happening for Lamont French. He's had a really successful career thus far, and he's still continuously digging into his practice and honing in on his practice. And y'all just keep paying attention. Next year, he has some really amazing things coming up. So, yeah. So who sold out? So, Tyreek Morrison, he sold out? That's really good. That's good news. I hope he sees this, so he sees that we're talking about him. Mm. I don't even think I gave y'all a chance to see Tyreek. Let's see. You guys know who Frank Morrison is? I'm sure. I'm sure you know who Frank Morrison is. If you don't know who Frank Morrison is, Frank Morrison, I was really lucky to see an exhibition by Frank Morrison at, I was in New York, and Richard Beavers used to have a gallery in Soho, and when I go to New York, I spend a lot of time. I usually stay there. My hotel is usually in Soho because I like to go shopping, with all in the shopping district around there. But Frank Morrison had a show up not the last time, but one of the last times I went. So I was able to see his work in person. An icon, if you ever knew one. An icon. Let's see. I know we're jumping all over the place now, but I do like to reserve a little bit of this time for you guys to talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. Let's see, Frank Morrison. Yeah, I mean, tap in. See, if you guys, so my Patreon that's linked here at the bottom of the screen, that's how I talk to artists one-on-one. So I would really, first of all, encourage y'all to join that Patreon, because all the things that we talk about here, just live or on the pre-recorded videos, it's contextualized in that Patreon, and it's where strategy becomes real. And there are frameworks that I give you guys to apply to your career, and strategy to apply to your career or your collection. And there's 3 different tiers. I talk about them on all of my videos. The first tier is entry level. It allows you to have a worksheet that makes all the videos personal to you, so you can activate any video that you watch that we do on YouTube. The second tier is all about strategy and all about framework, so it breaks it down even more. But that third tier is one-on-one. And what I do with most of my clients, and what most of my clients that / like artist development, collector development students, what we're doing mostly is digging into what you really want out of your career and creating a career map to go get it. And I go along that journey with you and make sure that you're reaching milestones and you're going after what you want to get and you're getting it, whether you're an artist or a collector. So you might come in saying, hey, well, these are my goals. We really break down what your goals are. And after we fully actually understand your goals, we start chipping off and going towards your milestones. And we do that. I like to do 2-year roadmap. So if you are an artist or a collector that you want to connect with me one-on-one and you want to talk about your career personally, then go into the Patreon, join the Master and Glory tier, and that's when we could do that one-on-one. All right, y'all, I have to go. I got to go. I'm so sorry, y'all. Anyway, look, I love y'all. Y'all always remember that glory is a process. You can't have the glory without the story. You need the story for the glory. And I'm always and forever and will always be thankful for you guys being a part of my story. Check out the Patreon. I have a video dropping tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're talking about the 10 moments, or not the 10 moments, but 10 moments that really affected this year in 2025, the art world. 10 moments that defined how we're going to step into 2026. I will see y'all next time. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Peace.